Hi, and welcome to another Thanks Again Film podcast, episode 35 Obsession. Recently, recently I went to the theater and I saw the movie Obsession. And I have to say, before going to the theater, I saw a YouTube video, and the video was celebrating the acting in Obsession. And part of what the actor who was going over the acting was saying was that not only was the acting good, but they were going over the idea of amateurs on up to the film. Uh, Not to say that it's bad acting. It's there people are at different stages in their life and abilities, and they hit the big screen. So part of the idea, part of me watching Obsession had that in mind, is that they were doing something special acting wise. And on top of that, I got somehow in that video, it gave me the impression that the story of Obsession is an old one. It's like I thought it was some sort of old theater, um, some old theater story that actors sort of celebrate and see, can you handle this little bit of acting? Because it's left up to interpretation. The the characters There's a character who becomes obsessed and she acts out of character. And it's sort of an idea of how crazy, how absolutely crazy can someone act? It's I hate to say it, but it gave me the impression that they wrote a story that was a bit Shakespearean, of where you have to dial up to understand exactly what the words are saying at every moment. You have to tune in. And in Obsession, that's not what happened. That's not what the story is. This Obsession, it's not, I'm not trying to laugh at it. It was good. Obsession apparently is like Backrooms. Obsession is a new story that started from people getting their art out on YouTube. And it got accepted by, I think, A24 took both, I think, and took off from there. They hit the big screen. And Obsession, I have to say, I understand why he would make a video going over the acting, because she does stuff in this movie that while I'm not gonna point at it and say maybe she might win an Oscar this year, I am gonna point at it and say she did something really complicated and made it look good. There's this moment, there's a bunch of moments like it, but in the near the beginning of the film, she's standing outside of this car and she's looking in, saying goodnight. And the magic of the story has happened. The magic of the story has happened where she's no longer in control of herself. She's become a bit of a passenger to whatever sort of strangeness is going on. The obsession has taken over, and this it's like a type of possession happened where this is this version of this person, if they were out of control, and that's in charge, while the actual person is stuck somewhere watching the whole thing. It's kind of like those things where those stories that you hear of where people are awake during surgery, where they put them under the anesthesia, everything's working fine, but oh no, they're still awake. They can feel everything. It's a real nightmare. They're conscious during the surgery, and then afterwards they get compensated medical compensation to the point where they never have to work again. But in Obsession, there's this bit of acting where she's saying goodnight, and you see the trapped woman and the obsession, the obsessed character talking at the same time, and it's amazing. The whole film is like that. She managed to really achieve something there. It's a date movie. It's one of those romance stories. It falls under romance, I think. It falls under horror and romance. Um, it, I'm not sure what to talk about. It's spoilers. So the idea is the main character. There's little details. I remember when watching it, there's little details in this movie where you can piece together who who the characters are. And it starts, the main character is this sensitive guy, and he lives alone. He has a small friend group, and he wants a girlfriend. I think he's lonely. He his cat, I'm going over and spoiling it. The star of the movie, his cat dies, and so he's upset. And it's a really amusing title sequence. There's this little detail. There's this little detail afterwards where he's in the bathroom and there's all these pills. The idea is that he got home from drinking and the cat got into the pills and now the cat's gone. And he goes to the bathroom and he opens the cabinet and there's nothing but pills from the top shelf to the bottom. And I saw that and I said, "You have to be kidding me." And it made me laugh because he said that he inherited the house from his grandma. So it's just little details like that. Basically, I think the cat died because it was bored and ate his grandma's pills. And then you see something else, which is as soon as you walk into the front door, it's a house. You walk into the front door and his computer is right on the left. It's just there's something a little off about it. I know people who do that are probably saying no, it's not. It's like a hotel room. When you, I can't. That's what I thought. That's what I'm thinking of. When you walk into a hotel room, there's usually like a radiator or air conditioner on the left. They don't usually put the desk in the front window so that you're waving at people as they walk by. So that suggests that it's a character who is really lonely. So in preparation for this date, to fast forward, he gets the courage to ask out one of his friends from the small friend group. It's like four of them, four or five. And in preparation for the date, he goes to this mystical shop to buy like a crystal necklace or something. And in there by the counter, there's a I don't know what you would call it. It's a paper gift, sort of like a toy of a wishing game, where you snap it and read your wish, or see it, or make a wish, and it makes a sound. Um, so fast forward, he makes a wish. He makes a wish to have his friend fall in love with him. But what's interesting about the scene is that I don't think that he's 100% sold on it. The way the acting is done, it seems like he's saying, "You'll do." And that's not it. And is really clever because how the story plays out is it has to be the complete opposite. So in that moment when he's in the car is gigantic. It's the whole movie. He she he's interested and he calls her, I forgot her name. I had to look it up. There's this moment where he remembers that people call her Crazy Nikki. And he takes a gamble and tries to call her Crazy Nikki, and she's wounded by it. She says, how could you do that? It's like it's like she was a little too much in high school, and he brought it all back for no reason. And then there's this thing kind of happens where they take a moment to look at each other. He sees her walk off to the front door, and she comes back to the car. He doesn't drive away. It's this moment where you see these two people, and they're trying to decide if they actually like each other or not, and they're being awkward. And then and then it turns into this one thing where he just says, okay, she's neat. But it also reminds me, I used to watch dating shows, and there's a couple things that used to annoy me on dating shows. And one of them was that sometimes you could see that two people were in imbalance. And that was because one of them expected the other one to entertain on the date. And then they judged the person based on how entertaining or not they were. And I thought that was so unfair that usually on a lot of those dates, one person would sit slightly above and say, okay, if they make me laugh enough, if they were entertaining enough, if they were nice enough, then I may see them again. And what it turned out to be was a lot of guys doing exercises. Those shows, it looks like these guys are going on these dates, and it's a workout. They have to hold everyone's attention and be clever and funny for a half hour. But it's the whole day. Those people are on camera trying to be funny all day long. And I don't know. I just thought that was one thing that I thought was really unfair about life in general. The other thing, okay, I switched locations. The other thing was, it's not a dating show. It's a dating idea, and that was, I heard through those shows, I think that men, I heard that men understand if they like a woman within 3 dates, as in marriage. They have to, for men, they have to, they know exactly if a woman will make them happy or not forever. They could see it within 3 days. And I think it's real. You can tell by spending time with someone, but for me personally, by spending time with someone, that little bit of time is enough to find out basically if she's going to annoy you or not. I used to sit and think about it, and it would boil down to barefoot and pregnant. Like if on the first date, if I looked over and saw that she was barefoot and pregnant, and I had to handle that for the rest of my life, would that bother me or would I feel happy about it? That's basically what it boils down to for guys. Is do they want to look after? Are they? Is this lady going to annoy them? I mean, there's all sorts of love that people fall into, but as far as dating goes, people meeting each other, I think that's it. And for women, I heard it was like 3 months. It was either 3 weeks or 3 months. I think it was 3 months. It takes a while for women. They have to know someone. It's there's all sorts of stuff. Every now and then I bump into lady humor about dating, and sometimes it's dark. It's a lot about, is this person going to hurt me or not? It looks dark and terrifying. But anyway, in the movie Obsession, he sits there in the car and he looks out the window, and he decides that crazy Nikki is the love of his life. And it's strange because it seems like it's the very same day that he's ever considered the idea. And I talked a little bit about this movie, and what it suggests is that because he sacrifices himself in order to set her free, that suggests that he did in fact love Nikki. Bear did love Nikki if he's willing to do that. But at the same time, that was all based off of that one night of where they sat with their friends at the bar, and then he drove her home. If I remember correctly, he broke up with someone else. He broke up with someone, or she broke up with someone, and then his cat died, and then there's another idea too, and that's at the very end of the movie, she screams. There's a recognition that Nikki wakes out of whatever sort of spell that she's been under and understands what's happened. And it makes you wonder if she's at all grieving for Bear. Um, I can't. I'd have to crawl through the story to go over it. And for my memory, it's basically a date story. Couple stuff happens, or there's stuff where they're trying to impress each other. He is constantly trying to keep her happy. She becomes a type of spinning plate of where he has to manage her, or she's gonna hurt him, herself. She's gonna act out and hurt someone else, and then this starts to happen. And for me, for me, this is also kind of when the movie falls apart. And when the movie falls apart, and he's walking around covered in blood, and no one stops him. He's a gory mess, like he's been in a car accident, and he's just walking around town, and no one stops him to say you can't do that. The story takes over, and it becomes a story where they're trying to say something. I took a little break. So there's something to be said. I think I was in the middle of saying something. But anyway, there's something to be said about he Bear in this story. Bear likes Bear is lonely. His cat died and he's crying over it. I think his girlfriend left him. So he wants someone. They also say crazy Nikki, which means she was not okay romantically and she's put it behind her. It gives the impression that from here on out, she is someone who only wants her partner because she got upset when he said it. So Bear is looking for anyone, and Nikki is looking for someone. In the car, he pulls the wishbone trick where it's he picks Nikki. Now, I haven't thought about the movie too much, but the movie is saying something because all the blood and gore at the end and the movie falls apart. The narrative completely falls apart and just becomes about the wish. Reality falls behind and it just becomes about the story of what happens with this wish. It's like Three Little Pigs or something. Um, Bear. Bear wishes for Nikki. Here's the thing, they're saying something. Bear wishes for Nikki, but if any other woman were standing there that looked nice to Bear, he would have wishboned them. But seeing Nikki act out as her worst, I think that's what the movie's trying to say. It's saying something. Seeing Nikki act out as her worst, she could literally is something. She could literally kill someone. Nikki could literally in the story, Nikki could literally kill someone in front of Bear. And he'd take the position of I have to protect Nikki somehow. And part of that is because it's his fault. It's a neat story. They're saying something with it. All of Nikki's actions are Bear's fault. Whatever she does to she's not in her right mind. The story has to become dangerous. Also, the story has to become dangerous in order to wake Bear up to try and solve to really try and solve Nikki's problem. He's micromanaging her and trying to keep her. He knows there's a problem, but at the same time, what do you do with that? If someone's possessed, who do you go to for help? Maybe a doctor. It's one of those things where there's community. But he doesn't want to lose her. I think that's what it is. If Bear takes her in throughout the movie, if Bear takes her, if he goes to get help, then he's lost her. He has her imprisoned somehow. I think the story is really worth going over. He has her imprisoned somehow, but by the end of it, he dies for her, which is some sort of Romeo and Juliet type thing. He runs and finds another wishbone, and he even though that's is kind of weird. Even though the story doesn't allow for you to wish twice, I think Nikki wished. She wished what he wanted, and he it was his Romeo and Juliet at the end. There's something to be said about it that Bear Bear is the obsessed one, isn't he? Is that's the kind of turnaround of the story. He's the one holding on to her. Or it's an idea that the minute that it happens, it's fun until it's not fun. And then it becomes something that he doesn't know how to fix. But the irony of it is that it forces Bear to look after Nikki. The guy who was looking for basically anyone is the one who becomes obsessed in keeping her focused and on the rails. Um, I don't know. What is that saying? Okay, I took a break and I'm picking up later. Uh, so not to recap, but to recap, what I'm pointing at, what's to point at, is the idea that Bear was looking for anyone, and Lisa wanted someone. After that, after the wish happens, Bear begins to hold on to Lisa. even though that's not her. So the story begins to be one where he actually cares for her and not crazy Lisa. Taking a step back, that's what it seems like. He cares about, he has to get through the story. Unless it's one of those stories where, like, the wishbone actually showed him the wishbone showed him who she actually is. Crazy Lisa is actually Crazy Lisa. Lisa is actually Crazy Lisa. The story says that he wanted her to fall in love with him, to love him. And after that, this obsessive character shows up. Which is to say that's all that she cares about, all that he cares about. This is a tough movie because it talks about relationship dynamics and whatnot. It's a neat little puzzle. Does Bear care about Nikki? I said Lisa. It's Nikki. It's crazy Nikki. Um, so he wants someone, and he picks Nikki, and then Nikki isn't herself. It's something to wrap my mind around. He picks Nikki, and then Nikki isn't herself. But what I think what's important is that he picks Nikki, and then Nikki isn't herself, and he's okay with that. That's how the story starts. He feels like it looks like he's accepted that he stepped into some sort of alternate universe where his life is going to work out. He was ready to leave reality behind. So it's the story of he doesn't care about Nikki until Nikki starts to get hurt. And then he begins to care about Nikki. He didn't care about her until she started to hurt. So he was taking advantage of Nikki until she said, ouch. And then he goes to find help. And he can't find help. He has to get help from Nikki. So is at first it looks like a story where this character of Bear finds out how much actually cares about Nikki, which is enough to sacrifice himself. But it might not be. It might just be a dark comedy where Nikki gets hurt and then the story ends. But it's commentary. Um, I think the whole thing looks like commentary of crazy behavior. Possessiveness. She attacked someone. She was being crazy in the friend group. She was being abusive towards the friend group. She killed someone. And it was all about how much she loved Bear. She was that in love with Bear. Anyone that got close to Bear had to deal with Nikki, is what it looked like. I don't know about this movie. It's a cautionary tale, I think. I think this has to be a cautionary tale of telling people don't do that. Don't be so possessive over someone to that you're hurting everyone. It's what it does is it kills them and it isolates you and it kills them. So yeah, I think that's what this story is saying. It's satire. It's extreme satire to to the point where it's telling couple. There was a guy in the theater laughing. There was a guy in the theater laughing at Nikki's lines because he saw something familiar, and I think that's mission accomplished for Obsession. It's not bad. It's the tone of it's amazing. They really knew how to. The tone of it is something like Heather's. They it's not of the film, but it'll drag you back to that time period. They did something where the tone of it will drag you back to 1980, sometime shortly after 1985, or just before. It's not a bad story. Uh, okay, that's what I think of Obsession. It's it's extra fun if you are in a relationship, if you like that sort of movie. It's a little bit horror movie.